Hello, ladies and gents. My next guest spent over a decade in the NHL after an incredible 4-year run with the WHL's Red Deer Rebels. He hails from Portage La Prairie, Manitoba, and on top of being an underrated offensive talent, is one of the toughest players pound for pound of his era, and certainly one of the best teammates I've had in my hockey career. He came to Newfoundland to play with the Gander Flyers with yours truly at the end of his great career, and is still involved in the game today from his home in Long Island, New York. He is a hard hitter, a sharp shooter, a powerful puncher, a delightful dad, a faithful friend. He can fight, it's true, but he can really snipe too. He's had a fine journey and hosts a golf tourney. He likes to face danger and played for the Rangers. He skates real quick and has a big stick. He has a big jock and played senior on the Rock. That was in Gander. And he has a great backhander. Folks, if you want to make scrambled eggs, you first have to mash them. Welcome to the program, my buddy, Arron Asham. Arron, how you doing?
Good, buddy. Quite the intro.
Are you, you're in Long Island, are you?
Yeah, on the island here. Working with the Islanders still, doing coaching a U18 next year with Garth Snow, and trying to stay involved as much as I can.
Speaking of did you say U18?
Yeah.
Okay, because it was minor hockey for a while, right? Or, I mean, maybe it still is. I guess U18 is minor hockey, but I thought you were involved in the Quebec Pee Wee tournament and shit like that for a while.
Yeah, I did that. I actually just got back from there Sunday. I take a team up there every year. So
oh, really?
Every birth year. So I've been doing that I think that was my 7th year up there.
I love it there that time of year. I played in a couple times and went back 2 or 3 times. I haven't been there in probably a decade, though. Just a fantastic minor hockey memory for whoever gets to go.
It's unbelievable.
So first of all, I'm going to be branching out on, let's go tournaments first. So golf tournament, you got that this year coming up? Because I often forget to promote it on here. What is it? It's called Aaron's Chance to Play still, right?
Aaron's Chance to Play. We'll be going into our, I think, 17th or 18th year. As far as I know, it's, we're still planning on doing it. It gets tough, every year, everyone gets older, they got kids, commitments, and it is a big commitment. It's all my buddies back home doing it for me. So I'm sitting here on the island, I'm not really doing much. So as far as I know, we plan on doing it, but the ball's in their court, and if they choose to take a year off, I'm fine with it.
Well, it wouldn't be bad, because I think that same year, or that same weekend this year, there's a tournament in PEI. I didn't make it to either last year. I had Chicklets Cup and something else. I think it was Nationals. I couldn't make it to your tournament, or I can't remember, something like that. But anyway, you went to PEI, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to PEI for the Boys and Girls Foundation, and spent 4 days up there. And
I usually go there, so maybe I'll see you there this year.
It's just a great time.
Now, branching out on your home life and under 18, I've been paying attention. I pay attention all over Canada. I forgot that your daughter Ocean, right? There's your daughter's. Is it? I used to call her Azzy, but what's her full name again?
That's my oldest daughter is Aislinn.
Aislinn. Okay, that's what.
Yeah.
I never did. I just called her Azzy at your tournament. So Aislinn and Ocean plays hockey and is quite good. No. Yeah,
she's a freshman right now. Her first year at Minnesota State University. So she's on a full ride there for women's hockey, and she's loving it right now. Well, she's not playing much, being a freshman and all, but she's obviously she's going through her up and downs. Happy one day, sad, pissed off the next. But
hey, my daughter's going to be 13 next week. I'm about to enter that zone. And if I haven't already a little bit, but hey, what it is? So Penny Lane plays soccer. She doesn't play hockey, but she enjoys it. A little late now. She wants to play. I'm like, I knew this would happen. I shouldn't have listened to a 6-year-old, but I didn't want to put pressure on her. Daddy, I hate hockey, but I suppose you got to play a sport. I don't care what it is. And she's real good at soccer. She's on the provincial team. Really proud of her and everything. But now she really does enjoy hockey. So I took her to see her first Habs game last month. It was great. Went down to the alumni room. Reggie treated us well. Gilbert Dion was there. It was really a lot of fun. But for that reason, when you bring up a girl, you realize that, like when we watch soccer, and everybody says, who's the best soccer player? And no one ever brings up like Christine Sinclair, who's from Canada and has the most international goals. So I often, and I get it, I'm just saying, I often try to make sure that we have a scope on female athletes, just so to give her some idols that are female. So, which makes sense. As we're perusing and I'll often just go highlights before bed, maybe 5 or 10 minutes of highlights. Not always women, but it's often, like I said,
Yeah.
Girl. Like to show her that women can do it too and get scholarships and whatever. It doesn't have to be soccer. Give her some goals. And as we're perusing, that's how I came across it. And it come up, your Arron Asham, the only girl from Manitoba, I think, on the one of the Canadian teams. It was junior or under 18, or at least to get invited to camp.
Yeah, she went to camp and tried out, and was one of the last cuts. But she got that opportunity, so her name's kind of in that area. So she's she's hoping a few years down the road, her goal is one day to play in the Olympics. So.
Hey, it's great. It's a great time to be a female athlete because interest and leagues are popping up, especially in soccer and hockey. Who knows where hockey's going to land? But by the time she's done, I know it's a little, and I don't want to get into the business of it. They got to generate some fans and everything else, but I think that can be done. I think we, as a hockey community, can all work together.
Yeah,
the point is, I just think in like 2-3, it's sorting itself out now. When Ocean is done college, there should be a direct route to some pro league,
women's pro league.
Yeah, right. There is now, but I just think that's landscape's going to change in the next few years. Well, that is absolutely fantastic. And then you got
Dexter.
It's Dexter and Cruz, right?
Dexter and Cruz, yeah.
Dexter and Cruz. Okay, and how are they doing?
Oh, good. Cruz. It's weird. My oldest daughter doesn't play. She likes watching sports. Likes watching her sister. She doesn't play. My oldest boy, same thing, doesn't play. So it's my two youngest that are the athletes, and Cruz loves it. He's he's out there. He's on the AAA Squirt minor team right now, and he enjoys being out there. A lot of knee hockey, a lot of taking shots on me and stuff, and it's just nice watching him develop year by year, and he's doing all right. He's not going pro, but he's out there, he's enjoying it, and he's having a good time.
He's having a good time, I bet. Speaking of that, I don't know if I've ever asked you, when did hockey become a goal? Like even I guess when any kid goes to the WHL, I'm thinking they realize the door is open now that for a possible NHL career. What were you, 11, 12? I was probably 13 or 14.
When realizing that, hey, I have a shot at making it.
I have a shot. There's something that separates me from these other kids, and I think I might have a shot.
I wasn't drafted in the Bantam draft, and I always felt that I was one of the better players, in my province for sure. But, I felt I could play, with anyone in Western Canada, and to get looked over and passed up, that was a bit of a heartbreak, especially when there's some guys that, you played with and you seen play go in the top 10. Yeah. And so I was a little discouraged then, but and then Carter Sears came and watched me in the provincials when I was, just turned 14. I was 14 or either 15.
And Carter had just come on the scene with the Red Deer Rebels, for those.
Yeah. So he was their scout, and I guess he talked to some people that knew me back home, and he came out to the Paw, way up north. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
some serious scouting.
Yeah.
He was doing his job. Yeah.
Came up and he watched me. I think he watched me that whole weekend. I ended up with close to 30 points in five games. Oh, so he, right there after the game, he was like, "You're on my list. You're coming to Red Deer, and in the spring, you come and skate." And then after that, August came around. He drove to Portage to pick me up. because I was supposed to get on a bus. Like I was 15 years old, like jump on a bus and go to Red Deer. I was like, so I was like, nah, there's no way I'm getting on that bus.
Carter,
So,
wow, good move.
Yeah, so Carter drove to Portage, picked me up, and drove me out to Red Deer, and the rest is history.
Interesting. Good work. I always liked Carter. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
Oh, that's great.
It was a great family. And so for those that don't know, it would have been 94, 95, I suppose. And Arron and I ended up playing in Red Deer together, 96, 97, and then Fredericton, Montreal, and eventually the Gander Flyers. But so, speaking of Red Deer, okay. Now you must have gone there. I asked you this before too, but I'm guessing you went and mixed it up in camp, right? Like your first game. You just got on there at 16. Someone went in the first round. If you didn't get drafted, you know what I mean? Like when I went to Tri-City with BJ, we were the first two, first rounder and second rounder. We knew it. We went there a month early. Unless someone had an unreal camp and I sucked, then I knew I was going to make it. You must have bumped somebody. I mean, it happens when you're 17, 18, 19, but not much at 16. How did you slide in there?
We had our rookie camp. It was right before main camp. Yeah. And they had all the draft picks and everyone was there. And I led the tournament, the rookie tournament in scoring. So they're like, okay, you're going to stay for main camp. I had a really good main camp. And then we had, the final black and white game. I had 6 points. I had 5 goals and like an assist.
Wow.
So they couldn't send me back. And then we go into exhibition season and I fought once in midget, my first midget game. I was 15.
Oh yeah, see, I love this.
I had 2 goals and an assist, and then I got into a fight for some stupid, like cages on, like it was so dumb. But I got a Gordie Howe my first, and I never really fought till my first exhibition game in the dub. I think we're playing the Prince George Cougars. You go up to Jasper or something. They had that like pre-tournament. I can't remember. It was somewhere in BC.
You knew that 12 fights were going to break out at those things.
Well, I didn't know at the time.
Oh, yeah, so, you were first. I guess. I didn't know either till my first camp, but I was like, oh, okay.
Like I was
just a license for everybody that drops the gloves to.
Yeah, I was going in. I was like one of the skilled guys. I wasn't big at all. I was like 5'6", 5'7". Yeah. I didn't friggin' sprout up until after that first year. So I ran a guy, clean hit, and then I was skating away, and I just felt guy found my jersey, turned around, and next thing you know, I was in one. And right from there, they did pretty good.
Like, was it natural? My knowledge of you fighting, I almost use it in hockey school. I'm like, a center of gravity, like the way you go about it. There's something to be taught there. You get a great center of gravity. You look like a natural punch bird, but at some point, I know you're tough off the ice, but at some point, your first hockey fights, did you go like that? Did it just become natural?
I think I was swing. I don't even remember. I remember I was swinging both hands, and then finally I got a grab, and then next thing you know, it's just. I grew up with 3 brothers, so
True. It wouldn't be the first time, yeah.
No, many street hockey fights, but usually it was my brothers cleaning up the guys that were coming after me. So I didn't really have to fight that much besides just fighting my brothers. But yeah, and then right after that, it was like, boom, I love this.
I remember realizing. Like, I remember before going to junior, in Cornell, and just not knowing and I was kind of scared to take a punch.
Well, for you left when you're freaking 13. It's
right.
Playing in that Rocky Mountain Junior Hockey League. It was nuts.
But in relative terms, what I remember about my first few fights is kind of coming out of them and going, fuck, I just got tagged big time, and really it didn't even hurt. Like, I remember going, great, like, this is great news. This is great news. Now I'll be okay. Because we're similar. You're a little more wide open, but I tried to be wide open too, because I'm like, unless I'm fighting George Larac, like, break my orbital bone, I don't mind taking the punch. And it's true. You don't feel it. I'd feel a puck in the face or a slash if you're not. But if I'm looking at you and fighting, and it's just, I don't know, water off a duck's back, so to speak. But
it's all that adrenaline going through you.
It must be. It really must be, because I've often, sometimes the puck will be dumped in and it'll like hit a ricket but bounce off your face. I'm like, oh, I felt that worse than a punch. But it must be, you got the adrenaline going.
Well, in Freddie, I got shot in the face twice on the bench. Miro, I think Miro hit me both times.
I remember the once.
Why? And then
twice.
I was like, Jesus Christ! Yeah, I got hit both sides. It was nuts.
Speaking of, okay, we speak about Red Deer, and fuck, did we have a tough team? Did we ever? Just like, so for those that don't know, it was 96, 97, and I played against the Rebels, Aaron. I was in a different division though, so really it was only 2 games a year.
2 games a year, yeah.
Tri-City almost felt like it, and even the western side of the Western Division, like outside of Seattle, Spokane, it just felt like a different league almost. So, you know, I have a better take on playing against Adam Deadmarsh and Darcy Tucker, and because they were in our division. We'd play you guys twice. I remember you fired a water bottle off the back of my head, wanted to fight me first shift. I remember that. But
I was trying to get my name out there, so.
Yeah, you were, and I totally get it. I totally. So I knew who you were, but what it was, I was in Montreal 96, 97. I knew I wouldn't play much. They told me you're here to practice until the trade deadline, which was great. Like, in other words, Tri-City are in last place. You're going to be a deadline deal. Practice with the NHLers for 4 or 5 months, and then go back. So they asked me where I wanted to go, and Reggie was leaning towards that anyway because they drafted you. Now by this point, you were drafted to that.
Yeah,
and you'd had 1 camp in, and I'd had 2, and he was like, you know, you can go to any team here, but you know, I think they're pretty good. They're just traded for a goalie. I think Magler Diddy was going over with me from Spokane.
Yeah,
and you know, they're going to be all right. And he said they're really tough because I also had a concussion the year before. So he said, you won't even have to fight there. And not that I looked, I kind of like fighting, but I didn't. I really didn't at all. I remember getting there the first day.
Well, then, yeah, you had your
my concussion helmet.
You had your space helmet on.
It was fucking ridiculous. But I went. That was part of the reason. Now we went on a crazy run, and we were. You guys were like almost there, and really, it was a flip of a coin. I'd like to. If there was one thing I said to Mags when I was in Vegas last year, I'm like, we did our job, you know, and we nearly pulled it off. The team that fucking beat us ended up going to the Memorial Cup final and losing by a goal. But think of that team too. Like, so we had, just think of some tough guys. We had Petey.
Yeah.
Right?
We had Mike Brown, 2 guys that are drafted real high just to fight. It was back when tough guys got drafted in the first round and shit. Lloyd Shaw, who's the sneakiest Pete of them all. He was tough. He was tough, and he was big, and he was dirty. He would fucking chop you if you went around him. Like, no one would go around his side. Right? I forget to mention him. He was filthy. A guy like Devin Francon, like, I don't even think he was pretty tough. No one fucked with him. Lance Wardle, he was drafted to Florida. And I got a one who was probably pound for pound the toughest in the league. Greg Schmidt. I had him on here last year. Lefty. Holy shit, and a lefty. Loved him. And and such a great center of gravity, loved fighting. And we must have been scary to play against. No wonder we were doing all those dances and not getting grabbed. Like, fuck. And now, okay, go ahead. I just remember like warm-ups. It was like, if whatever team was still on the ice, it was like we're chopping them. We're on the bench chopping guys, and that was just the way it was back then. 2 of the biggest pretty boys, and by that I mean look and swagger, in the division are BJ Young and Brent McDonald on our team, and both of them fought. Yeah, they fought. Daddy. I know. It was nuts. Like, fuck. And I forgot. You know who got traded right before I got there? And I got to give him a shout out because I played with him a few years before. And if you're talking tough pound for pound, Matt Van Horlick. Yeah. Matty was there. Matty was there as a 20-year-old. Yeah. He was there the last year. I played with him in Quesnel. His brother Quentin, who's dead now, God rest his soul. Quentin, I hung out with Quint every day. Great guy. When I was 14, I talk about Surrey coming in, but so did Quint. Quint was a minor hockey player as well. I believe he was 2 years older than me, so he was first-year midget. So we hung out a lot. And then Matty came in the next year, and really, meat and potatoes, did his job, started as a D-man, but just he was so tough. Put him up front, and he'd dump it in, really nothing flashy about him, but I had to mention that. He's one of the toughest pound for pound that I've seen. Yeah, him and like that Paul Ferrone. You remember Paul Ferrone? Oh, I played a world championship on Ball Hockey Canada with him. Do I ever? Fuck. He was a fucking killer too. Just drop the mitts and just go. Like, there's no easy way out of that one. Rob Tremblay was a killer too. He wasn't big. Killer. Pete
Yeah, glad
Vandermeer.
you gave him that because he sent me a message. Like, back in the day, I met him. I looked up there. I couldn't believe when people are telling me how tough he was. Like, it was 93, 94. Without the internet, I would just heard names. I went into Moose Jaw. I'm like, what? This guy you're talking about being tough?
Exactly. I know.
He was
and
tough.
then I seen him fight Vandermeer.
You guys are fucking with me. You guys are fucking with me. You're punking me. And then I saw him fight. Holy fuck.
Shit. Yeah. That was like Ferrone. Same way. He didn't look like he was, but he could fucking throw him.
It was just like that. You really had to navigate your way around out there, like it really was. And there was no way. I say to people, I'm like, there was no way around it because you had to battle. You had to play hard because you had to get room in front of the net. Like how many, that era, Ash, like, I'm like, I try to explain playing in the dub. We had a good team. I remember getting some nice goals, but most of them were just like, give me that extra second in front so I can tip it in or, and so you had to get respect, but half the time you're cross-checking guys like Wade Belak and Sheldon Surrey. Fuck it. I mean,
Chris McAllister. Every team had 2-3 tough guys.
How about going into Saskatoon? Okay. Number at least 3 on their tough D list was Rhett Warner, who was a fucking killer to play against. But they had McAllister and Belak on the first, and McAllister was 6'7", Belak 6'5", both heavyweights. I mean,
Well, Warner was what, 6'3", freaking solid. He was tough too.
Solid, yeah. And they had another couple.
Shane Calder was there. He was tough. Calder,
sure. Even up front, one of the best two-way players of that era, Clark Wilm. He would just skate back and forth, and if he didn't take the puck on you, he'd fucking hit you hard. There was no going into Saskatoon or anywhere in that time without coming out.
Wilm played a hard game.
A real hard game, You knew you were in for it, right? You had to. It forced you to be on your toes and work hard. Not that we didn't, but I looked at guys like that, and I'm like, fuck, like there's no easy way out of this. We got to put on our fucking big boy shoes tonight because Clark Wilm is going to make you pay.
Yeah.
Chad Beagle and Swift Current, same thing. Just run around, hit everything that fuck him. Although Wilm had better hands.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with even like the leading scorers of the league that year or the year before, say, Darcy Tucker and Damon Lancashire. There was the same thing. I remember you fighting Tucker in Habs camp, and we went out that day to get fucking rosé tortellini together. Like, it was just you hit them, and there was like all you had to do, like you said, was finish a hit. Yeah. And it was just almost an invitation. Not that, and I don't mean that for those listening that are new age, like happens now, like a clean hit and then an automatic fight. It was just like back then, like sometimes, especially the timing of the game. If it was 3-0 with less than 10 minutes left,
line brawl.
And I finished my hit. That was really me saying, "Let's fucking go." It
wouldn't even come to the hit sometimes. The puck would drop and it just
to the hit.
No, it just everyone dropped their gloves and go.
And it was so chaotic. I remember, I don't know when this ended, Ash, and I looked into this online. I say to people, they're like, how tough was the WHL when you played it? I'm like, well, first of all, we couldn't warm up with the other team because there was too many bench clears before the game started. And just like you just said, and we would wait, and if someone was on the ice 1 second later than they should, we'd go on and take slap shots at their head, right?
Yeah.
So the very reason that, we were proving them right. But do you remember 10-minute misconducts didn't count on our stats. In the other leagues, it did.
Yeah.
If you, in the OHL or the Q, went out and told the ref to go fuck himself, and over a 72-game schedule, that happens a few times, at least 10, or you're the third man in or something. At least 10 times. That's 100 minutes. So I would look down and see like these guys in the other leagues that are comparable to me. In my draft year, say, Ash, not to make it about me, you were the same way. You always had close to 200 minutes, 150 to 250, whatever. Yeah. I had 207 in my draft year. I remember going, that'd probably be 400 in the O.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They had like, I think if you got into a fight, it was like 5 and a 10 or something. Like, it was ridiculous.
Well, it was a lot. If fight in the last 10 minutes was a 5 and a 10. Anytime third man in, second fight on a play. There was lots of penalties. We just didn't give a shit. But all of those 10s.
Our leading
penalty. How many times do you get a penalty with a minute left and go fuck yourself to the ref?
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the guys that were leading our league in penalty minutes were still like 300, 350.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fights.
The scariest words as a hockey player that I remember hearing were going into my first exhibition game with Tri-Cities, and we were playing Spokane, and someone was telling me about Kerry Toporowski.
Yeah.
And the year that they started that they said, you guys aren't allowed 10s because it's too fucking chaotic out here. People are trying to get 1,000 minutes. We're
Yeah.
not going to let it happen. So they took it away. He went out that year and set the record anyway.
He had like
look it up,
600,
Kerry
didn't he? Or some
Toporowski, he had
599 or something.
He had 500 and something.
Yeah.
500 and something with no 10s.
Yeah.
Like, it's impossible to get.
He was PA, wasn't he? For a little bit.
Spokane that year.
No, that was Shane.
His brother Shane.
Toporowski.
There was Brad. There was a bunch, brothers, cousins. But I know Brad, Kerry, and Shane, I believe, were the brothers in the league at that point.
I think the whole reason that they stopped warming up was because of PA. They used to steal the other team's nets, and then they would have to warm up with no net. So
I heard this. Okay. I heard this, and I thought it was bullshit. You've been doing some alumni games, haven't you, here and there? I just finished one with Ron Duguay, Langer, Rick Vive.
Yeah.
God, someone was there, though, that played back then. And I asked, and they're like, yeah, no, that happened. And I think maybe Ken Baumgartner, Dave Manson might have been on the team. Went down
they were
to
at
the
Bomber,
other end multiple times. I thought it was, first time I heard it, I thought like someone was pissed off and did it as a prank. They were like,
it was every game, I think.
Yeah. They used to go get the other net, bring it down in, and have two nets in their warm-up. I mean, that's one of the scariest things that I've heard. Imagine if you come out and you're like a finesse, like no wonder,
God.
Like small little whippersnappers that, no wonder they went to college. That would have been terrible. Now you or I, it was like a bit of a challenge. It was a bit of fun. I don't want to speak for you, but it was never really a barrier that's going to keep us out of it. But imagine if you weren't tough.
No.
Of course you'd go to college. It would have been
Could
terrible.
you imagine? No, it would be no.
Like, I wonder how guys like John Zakuski, nothing against him, right? He was just a good player. I believe I played with him on Team Pacific, Team Canada, fucking under 7, great player, but it just wasn't in him. Like
that was my liney. Yeah.
Yeah. And a great player. I had nothing against Zook. It just wasn't in him to do that. And I'm like, if it was, it would have kind of probably helped him. There was scouts there that loved it.
He had me out there, so he didn't have to.
You didn't have to do shit.
You didn't have to worry too much. Just score when I passed to you. Yeah.
Listen, remember when we were in Freddie? And I keep forgetting to say this, but you remember there for a stint, we were at my buddy's. I don't know what happened. There was Scott Hurley and Jeff Mahoney. And we went over, it might have been in the end of the season, 98, 99. And we went over and we were staying on campus. Can you remember that? And my buddy Brian Bumblesberry used to get up in the window.
I remember vaguely. I vaguely remember.
Brian Bumblesberry, he would go and he would break out the guitar and he would get up on the windowsill and play with the guitar. So I figured I'd let you know. So he's on YouTube now. He lives way up north.
He's a teacher, right?
He's a teacher. You're right.
Yeah.
And so he's got a one-man band. He calls it Shingle the Dog. So go to YouTube. Some songs are recent ones: Missing, The Place I Go to Hurt, So Lost for You. Anyway, check it out. I figured I'd give him a plug, but he's still doing it. He's teaching up there still. He must be 50 odd now.
I remember when he first went up there, I remember him doing his little singing and stuff on YouTube. So good for him. I miss Bumbles. He's a good dude.
That was a good time, As far as minor league stories and years can go, fuck, that was fun in Freddie Beach.
Freddie was great.
NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place a same-game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. So, what are you waiting for? Download the app now and sign up with the code THPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly. Again, that's code THPN, as in the Hockey Podcast Network, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. This time of year, everyone's talking about making big changes, which is all well and good, but most of the time, pretty unrealistic. You've probably found that the smallest changes to your routine can actually make the biggest impact. In the same way, you don't have to break the bank to make a big deal purchase. Even the smallest things can be part of a big change if it's something you use every day, just like Raycon earbuds. Raycon is premium audio at the perfect price point, so you can build great habits without breaking the bank. Whether you're looking for a pair of everyday earbuds, low latency gaming headphones, or a speaker with a battery that will last all night at your next party, Raycon's got you covered. And yep, Raycon start at half the price of other premium audio brands. That means you don't have to choose between products. You can get one of each, or a pair and a spare, and still pay less than you would with some of the other guys. Even if you know you'll love your Raycons, Raycon wants to make sure you feel great about your purchase. They offer buy now, pay later options, and every purchase has an easy and free return guarantee. Ready to buy something small with a big impact? Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get 15% off your Raycon order. Again, that's buyraycon.com/THPN to score 15% off. buyraycon.com/THPN.
Name me 3 bars in Freddie Beach, Ash.
What is it? Sweetwaters.
You're right. Yeah.
What's the Irish one? Sweetwaters. What's the Irish one?
Dolan's,
and then there's the nightclub there down by Sweetwaters, right across the street.
right across the upper deck.
The upper deck, yes. And then there's a little rave beside it. I can't remember the name of that.
I can't remember either.
There's a little rave. There's a little rave downstairs.
Ash, I forgot about that until you just said it now. Fuck, that seems like yesterday.
Yeah, there's the rave down there.
Remember that? Have your beer, order some drinks, and then just wander out into the
the rave
club and rave, and you didn't really know what was happening. There was like lots of French people in there. I never ever met French people I did in New Brunswick, but not in Fredericton, except when I went over and I crossed over into that rave room. It was all French people for some reason.
It was great.
The Rock and Rodeo.
The Rock and Rodeo, yeah.
And on Tuesdays there was somewhere every night of the week, because Wednesday, Monday was social club. Then you got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, anywhere. And Sunday was upper deck, but Tuesday
mixing some hockey here and there.
Yeah, Tuesday was the Hilltop. Remember?
You remember how pissed Terry used to get when I would miss the optional skates?
Oh fuck, man!
We'd go out to fucking the casino or something.
But would be. I remember being. I just went on Knuckles and Islands podcast, and I was trying to explain it. Like, he hated it, but the thing is, he would never listen. And why wouldn't we? Probably weren't the best communicators either. It's not like I went and never tried to talk it out. I just didn't like the guy at all. But I remember being like, okay, look, on this particular night, once trying to tell him, I'm like, it's all good. We're going to go for steak. We're going to go for some beers. I play better anyway when I want to take the option. I know I'm young, and I know there's a pecking order, but I just want to take the option. I'll play better. And I remember having it just sometimes you need it. Like, we're not idiots. We know how to do it, right? So I know what you were doing, and I remember you just being logical about it, going, but I know I don't need to skate. It's going to be a hassle. I need to have some breakfast, get a little rest in, and it was always a problem, right? But
he didn't like it. Oh,
he would skate everybody because of you.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. And he would basically hold you accountable one way or the other, though. So it was never really, we realized halfway through, it was never really optional.
No, it was, he wanted you there. And, we were playing a lot. Like, we're, like, that second half, me, you, and Kinger, like,
I was looking, we had good stats. We really picked it up.
My last half that's what got me going.
The funny thing is with Michel Therrien, I often say it, I think a lot of it was tactic. Like if we were away from the rink, I really could get along with him. He was ignorant. He would smoke in like restaurants and stuff, but and on the bus.
On the
But
bus, but
you
that was
know,
good for us, though.
if you the nuts and bolts of it, he ran a practice and you didn't know anything and you weren't like with an objective look at it. He was pretty good coach. Like he was, and we played under him. Like I say to people, like they're like, oh well, you know, you didn't like him, he didn't play. I'm like, he played me. I wouldn't have had good stats.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the guy. Like the way he, you know, I didn't like getting the tap. I know what to do, Mike. I've already fought more than you did your whole career, and I'm 21, right? Like I know what to do. You don't give me the fucking tap, and just give me a little bit of leash, right? Just let me be me, and I promise you, I won't embarrass you. But
that was just the worst part about him was the tap.
Yeah, right.
I didn't mind him. I was young. I was fucking, you know, I was cocky, and you know, but
yeah, there was some of him that we needed. Like,
he tried with the mind games all the time, but like, oh, I got your career and I'll crush it. And I was like, yeah, fuck, whatever.
But you know, like you just said, he tried. Meaning, it a lot of the time it was what he thought was the good coaching tactic.
Yeah.
Right. Like it really did. In his mind, he might not have even been having a bad day. Just I need to call Terry Ryan out. I think he'll play better knowing that he's a soldier. He's not above anybody. I think he saw, like, when I dye my hair blue.
He always fucking called you out.
Oh,
you remember when you stopped the fucking escalator at the airport?
Oh God! So we're in the. I try to explain this. Anybody that's been in the Montreal airport. Now we're on a private bird too, so we land, and we have a long, long way to go to the front, and the bus is waiting for us. So there's an escalator going down, and then in the bottom, like the bowels of the airport, there's this long.
It was long.
What do you call it? And is that a moving escalator? But it's not.
Yeah,
an
walking
it's
walking like a
treadmill.
A walking escalator type
treadway.
Thing,
yeah. So flat, in other words, but it's really so. I'm going. I don't know. We're
the first ones off because we're rookies.
Yeah. Okay. That was it. I didn't want to say it because I'm like, I don't know if we were, but I think we were. Okay. So we're the first ones off and we're coming. We get our shit. And at the end of each, so I'm playing a prank on the boys. I don't realize, I assume that the only people ahead of us, for some reason we had to wait on the runway. I'm assuming the only people ahead of us are the management, and Jacques Lemaire is with the Habs, and he's sent down to like, scout us for the weekend, and the girls from the Darren McCready, what was his wife's name, from The Office, they're there. I don't even really know any of this. So, but I get to the end of the first escalator, I press stop, right? So we're moving along, and then we stop it for everybody else. Just a hassle, just to be a dick. And then the long flat treadway, I don't know, they went like for half a kilometer. I don't think I'm exaggerating there if you add it all up.
Long. It was long.
And each time I got to the end, and we would look and see people coming around the corner, but they were so far away, I couldn't see who it was. And I was stopping all of them. And then finally we got out to the bus. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, it was Alana from The Office. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I didn't know that. And they all had luggage. One of them was wearing, I think Alana had high heels. Anyway, and he came onto the bus, and he came right down, nose to nose. He was nearly touching my nose. Who did this? And he's looking red. Oh,
at least you owned up to it. You're like me, yeah. Oh, fuck this.
I did owe up to it, Ash. And then I don't know if you remember this. We went on. We were, for some reason, practicing in Hartford. I don't even know if we were playing there. We had like a New England thing, and we were in this random rink that we never ever practiced in. And he started to bag skate us, and he put a big bucket out front, and he was making us big bucket in center ice, and he was making us skate wallies. For those that don't know, it's like over and back is one, over and back is two, right? So he was going up to 20 and down to 1. Sounds easier than it is. Like you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up to 20, back to 1. Now we're in the middle of that, and he wanted the ice cleaned, and my dad's goalie and junior, Mike Visor, I believe was his name, he was running the rink. And to make a long story shorter, I don't know how he did it, but he winked, and somehow he ended practice early for us, and Mike was fucking pissed. And we went out that night, and Jerry was out. He was the assistant coach. And I think I missed curfew by like 10 minutes. I think we were in or the next night. It was in Providence, somewhere like that. We'd go for a steak in Providence every time. Remember, I don't remember the name of the restaurant. It wasn't like Mort's or anything, but it was a place.
No, it was a good spot though.
It was a good spot. We wouldn't go to the club. We would go to this restaurant. Anyway, I came back and remember he would sit in the lobby and he would just, yeah, I was 10 minutes late. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm an adult here. Tomorrow night I'm going to fucking fight for you.
On the Rock when we would check curfew and we'd be all dressed up with the blankets above our heads. And then we'd be all cloned up. And then as soon as he knocked, we were like out the back door over the fence. George Street.
What happened that night? I do remember having our suits on, ready to go, hair done. And then he was coming around to knock on the fucking doors. And we got up under the bed sheets, didn't we? Pulled him.
Yeah. Yeah. And said we were just about to go to sleep.
He knocked.
And he knew he could smell the cologne, the perfume.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we got caught and got bag skated in the morning for an hour and ended up losing.
He blamed that whole series on us. Well, although we won the series, but
we won the series, yeah.
He blamed any adversity whatsoever on us. And he said, and anyway.
Hilarious.
Anyway, yeah, that was all in all. I really think I'm not saying I want my time back. I'm happy where I am in life and everything's cool, man. We're still here, and it could be BJ, right? Speaking of Red Deer, I've had lots of friends die since. Like, that's a pretty morbid way to put it, but the fact that we're still alive and it's all good. So, point is, I'm not saying this out of bitterness or anything, or like I wish I had changed my life. But I'm saying in another world, I think I could have handled it differently because once he got like that, I just checked out. Like I was stubborn and I fucking hated him. And there was none of me that liked him. I could have walked in, I guess, and gone, Mike, come on, cut the shit here. Right?
You were nuts you were crazy since junior. What are you talking about?
Okay. But Rick Carrier was no mystery to me.
No, Rick let us fucking let the horses run, we showed up and we battled and
like Doug Hobson and my dad used to say actually a long time ago, but I remember Doug Hobson going, I'd rather try to get the horses back into the barn than horses that don't want to leave in the first place. Right?
Well, yeah, it was like right before we started our playoff series, he gave us the green light to go out 2 or 3 days before the series started. We ended up getting into a fight. I got hit in the eye with like a shot glass. Big brawl at Brantley's. So I come in the next day.
Different, yeah. Well, first of all, the last 15 games of the year, we went 13-1-1, and then winning the playoff. So it was working, but they turned a blind eye, man. That did happen. It was like we were Red Deer in Tri-Cities. Like the age, first of all, the drinking age was 21, and it was much more family friendly at the games and everything. I'm not knocking Red Deer. It's anywhere in Canada you're going to get a little bit more hockey knowledge, right? So it's going to be a different atmosphere when you're at the rink, and it's winter, and it's just the whole. Like I said, the Western Division was different, but in Tri-Cities, like it was bottled up a lot. Like shit, a lot of shit happened. Not bad shit, but growing up, coming of age stuff. I don't know. Like I remember missing curfew by an hour, but no one would ever really know it because we were in a fucking trailer, drinking with one of the billets that let us stay up watching the hockey game and had like a few girls. Or no one would ever know about. But in Red Deer, we were on display. We were out beaking people at Mort's like on Friday night. Like
it was so dumb.
What happened at Brantley's that time?
It was me, Steve and Pete, Chris Ovington was there, Brent McDonald. We went out drinking, and then the guys didn't really like me too much around there because I scrapped one of the guys. Actually, the guy kicked BJ down the stairs at Huckleberry Finn's. Yeah. Big guy, these two big guys. So it was BJ was my buddy. So I was like, "What the fuck you doing?" And so I squared off with this one guy and just laid him a beating. And then from that time on, it was every time I seen them, they're fucking trying to get at me.
Ash, I can't believe. Like, first of all, yeah, it really was the Wild West. Like, it's changed so much. I'm not saying one's any better than the other. Maybe there's a happy medium, but guys barely go out now. We were like every time we went out to the bar, You knew this. We were going out. Someone was going to hit on somebody's girlfriend. I don't mean within the team. I just mean we're in that age, man. We're junior hockey players. We were
We were
going
the
for it.
shit back then, right? And like guys
Yeah.
didn't like it too much.
They got protective about women and everything.
Fresh.
They didn't. Yeah.
We were new,
Right.
And they didn't like it.
At that point when I was in Red Deer, I had a hockey card, for fuck's sakes. Remember, I used to take it to the bar. But and so every time we went out, there was a story like that. I remember the story you're telling me when because I wasn't there that night, but you'd come in, get some donuts and coffee in the morning, skate it out, and tell everybody about it at Slugs or whatever. Like,
it was like a clear out like brawl.
It was
crazy.
We went in, someone had a story like that, and then Petey had come in and say someone pulled a knife on him at fucking outside Lawrence.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was crazy, man.
It was crazy.
The amount of, I guess you could say partying, but carelessness, just carelessness. Like wherever, and I mean this in the best possible way because we were a close team for that reason.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, we went out. We were together most. If there's a party, like everyone was going.
Everyone was going. We were a bunch of wolves too, like a pack of wolves. That's the other thing. Like I remember being in Mort's. Mort's had two sides to it too, right? The cowboy side, or was that?
Yeah, there was Mort's, and then there was Billy Bob's next door.
Billy Bob's.
Yeah.
Right, and you could just bounce back and forth there too.
Yeah.
And I remember going over to Billy Bob's a few times, but I would always tap a few of you guys on the shoulder because you didn't know what had happened. I love the cowboy girls, or the cowgirls, and that whole look. That bar had a vibe, and it was nice to. But you'd go over there, and they'd have the sexy clothes on.
The wood, yeah.
It was great, but a lot of them were hooked up with guys. And how the fuck do you know? And that, after the first couple bar fights, I was like, okay. So I made sure that we were all.
Let's go together.
Ash, Jesus, I didn't even get to any questions, and we're almost done. Is it okay? You got like another 5 or 10?
Yeah, I got a good 5 left. Yeah.
I just like you to have you on once in a while and have a chat. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what we talk about. Now, a lot of people ask me this question, so I'll relay it to you. Where do you think we should land with video replay? For me, I don't like the offsides. I don't even like any of it, but I understand that you need some of it. But I just think it's still half the time no one knows what it is. So I don't know. I think it slows the game down. Of course, you need it here and there.
Offside is no. I don't think that should be. It's the refs. Hey, if he thinks it's onside, it's onside.
You know what I mean, Ash? Because it's always, you're talking about inches, and the goal often happens sometimes 3 minutes after. Right?
No, it's after every goal. The coach or the video guys are looking through. It's a hockey play. It's fucking.
You go to
let
NHL games. I just find it's.
But I can see I can see like if the puck's in or out of the goal. Like I can see using it for that. But offsides,
like it's necessary for certain things, or if it's a directly, did I hit the goalie or not?
Yeah.
Or did the puck cross the line? But when they pull it back, 67 seconds ago, there might have been an offside, and they look back and the puck's in, the toe is 1 inch away. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah, that's cut the cord there, yeah.
Now, the more I watch football, I'll go how did they ever play without it? Almost every play that gets every video replay gets overturned, or you catch something. I don't know how they do that, and I don't know how could you be a referee in the NBA and see when a finger hits a finger when you're going to shoot it. Don't you find that unbelievably hard to judge?
I don't watch basketball.
You don't? So you don't go to many Brooklyn Nets games?
No.
What do you watch, Ash?
I watch hockey a little bit. I watch the Isles actually quite a bit, but I went to the game last night, but I don't know, man. I'm watching a lot of Food Networks.
A lot of food. Hey, one sec. Penny Lane, come here. Say hi. That's Arron Asham.
Hi, Penny. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Very good. Haven't seen you in many years.
Arron is your mom's good friend, too. He played with BJ and I in Red Deer way back. Penny Lane still goes to Calgary quite a bit. Danielle lives out there now, right, in Canada?
Yeah. I talked to her and Amy a couple months ago when they're up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, nice. Anyway, one of our really good friends. We watched his daughter, Ocean. Remember I brought up female hockey a little while ago? Anyway, just to let you know. Arron is one of my best friends in the world, so.
Good seeing you.
You too.
Okay, she's got soccer in an hour, Penny Lane.
Oh,
They built, I tell you this, Ash, they built here, I don't know how long ago, maybe 10 or 15 years, I guess, a big technoplex here. It's 2 or 3, I think it's as big as 3 soccer fields in a row. And, you know, Jeremy Charles, like growing up, so Jeremy and I, it was a big story one year. We won the Atlantics, and under 16, we went and won. We got some bounces and everything. Newfoundland were never a soccer powerhouse. But Penny Lane, like I said, she likes it, so she got involved. And because of they play all winter and they play a lot. There's a provincial program and like a provincial B program, and she plays on the last year on the under 12s, 13s, 14s, and 15s, like a lot of soccer. So she's playing all the time. And now, more often than not, Newfoundland wins the Atlantics. The women just won the Canadian Nationals, the senior women. Like, so it's really taken off. Not that you asked, but that's
soccer is getting big in Canada now, right? Canada's got some decent, national programs and stuff. So it's good to see more opportunities.
Yeah. What did you play? You must have played softball. You can or baseball or one of it. You can really hit a ball.
I played baseball. And then once I was done with ball, then I started getting the slow pitch in the summer times with my buddies and stuff. But
you're not bad at golf.
Golfing, I've been try to golf as much as I can. I love golf. I suck at it, but I love it.
I'm horrible. I just can't get to do it enough. I'm still playing ball hockey, if you can believe it, and my knees, I can totally feel it.
Yeah, my knees are shot.
Who would have been the biggest... I got this question comes from Felix in Toronto, Ontario. Who would have been technically the biggest player that you fought?
Biggest? Tallest?
Yeah. I wouldn't know where to begin. I said, I know a lot of his fights were against big, tough guys. They're 6'3" or 6'4" for a joke, but I don't know.
Remember that John Jacopin?
Oh, yeah, I do. Played in New Haven when we were in the A. Went to Florida, wasn't it?
Yeah, I fought him. He was like 6'7". I fought.
Oh, yeah.
I fought Spiller, Matthew Spiller. He was 6'6". I fought Peros. He's up there 6. I'm trying to think.
Peros. God, that's that era that, that was the meat of the real tough
Orr was tall, but Orr is more thick than anything.
Where do you think Patrick Kane's going to go?
I don't know. Edmonton? I doubt he'll go to Edmonton. Rangers?
I doubt too, but I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. No one's really brought that up much, but fuck.
Oh, I heard Carlson wants to go there. Imagine Carlson on that power play.
I can't imagine it, no. But like people said to me, well, they already got scoring. But I'm like, Patrick Kane can go anywhere and improve the team. I don't buy that he wouldn't go to Edmonton or he's not going to go there. But listen, you played against him, man. Like, I never got a chance to play against him or even see him live, I don't think. He's always one of my favorite players. He's captivating. Is he as fast when you're playing against him live?
Well, I played against him in the finals when he scored the game winner. And
oh, yeah.
He's good.
Wow.
His vision, he's small, he's fast. He can shoot the puck, he can pass the puck. He's good.
And when you were in Pittsburgh, Crosby, I always ask you about Crosby. So, Senior always wants to know about Crosby. But, those guys, you got Malkin now. Malkin played that long. Does Malkin, is he as much of a presence? Like in practice, are you looking at those guys and I don't want to use the word mesmerizing, but Malkin's often left out of the conversation. But, how good is he to play with?
No, they're unbelievable. Both of them.
You played on their team, right? I forget that.
Tempo, just the work ethic. It's nice. It was fun to watch. I got 2 years of it, even though Sid was injured most of it. But he's just an unbelievable guy, unbelievable teammate.
Funny, Ash. We went down in October. It was watched one of the first games of the year. It was just a live show we did with Chicklets, and we went to a game and went to the alumni room, waited, and then Biz is like, okay, we can go in the dressing room now. We went in, and the only two left were Malcolm and Crosby.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's fucking dedication, Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't really
First
surprise
there,
me.
last home, so it's just the way they were.
Okay, almost done. $1 million on the table right now. It's just on the table. If I pick the winner, I win, and likewise for you. Who do you think? Who's your odds on? Who do you think is going to win the Stanley Cup this season?
It's Boston.
Man, they're good, eh?
Yeah, they are good.
Have you seen them live lately?
I haven't seen them live, no, but they're good.
It's hard to disagree with you. Finally, Aaron's chance to play. So we touched on it at the beginning. Is there a website? You still don't know if you're going to do it, and I can totally understand why. Is there a website or anything, or can people go on and donate?
It's AaronsChanceToPlay.com. I believe the website is up and running, and as soon as we have more info on what's going to happen next year, we'll definitely post it and see what happens.
The last thing I'll say, I've mentioned you. One of my best friends in hockey is Taran Samwith. You got to meet him at some point. And it's been a while since I've seen you. So you know what we're going to do this summer? We're going to try to get to Machu Picchu, and I extend the invitation. Machu Picchu is an ancient, I guess, 15th century settlement. They're ruins now in the mountains in Peru.
Ayahuasca?
There you go. There might be some ayahuasca involved. You're barking up the right tree. Yeah, you fly into Cusco, I think it is, and then it's 50 or 80 miles or whatever, and you drive a little bit of it, but then you hike, take a donkey, whatever the hell you do, and yeah, there might be some ayahuasca involved. Who knows? So I don't know. We're going to round up a few buddies. You qualify, and I don't know. Put it under your hat and think about it. Because
let me know the dates, buddy.
We're looking at doing it in the summer. Okay, buddy. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
I appreciate
anytime.
you doing this today, and we'll talk again soon. Good luck the rest of the way to the Islanders in the hockey season. To yourself, to all the teams you coach, and pass a hello on to your family for me.
We'll talk soon, brother.
Love you, buddy.
Bye.
There it is, folks. The one, the only Arron Asham. I did a lot of talking there too. For my interview, and I apologize, I often do that, especially when it turns into a conversation, because I have a bunch of questions here. And I asked him 3 questions that are on my list. We just get talking, and it turns into storytelling, and I talk so much. But anyway, Ash is one of my best friends in the game, as you guys know. Now, these episodes now are on YouTube, right? Go to THPN. That's the Hockey Podcast Network on YouTube. And there are a bunch of fantastic podcasts, but you'll see mine listed under there. This will be number 4. For every time I have a guest, I'm going to try to do it and throw them out there on YouTube. Thanks to the Hockey Podcast Network and Carter Potts in particular for producing this podcast. That's what happens. I just sit here and record. I send it out, and the boys do all the dirty work. So thanks for that. Yeah, so you go there. So I had Sean, the Sheriff McMorrow, then Brendan Brooks last week, Andrew Shaw, now Arron Asham. So check those out on YouTube. I know that might as well. The camera's in my face. Might as well record it. I know that it's much more popular over just audio, but I'll put it out there. Why not? Thanks to everybody that listens or watches. If you're downtown St. John's this weekend or any other weekend, what places do I like to have a beer at? Where do I think you'd like to have a beer at? I would definitely say Trinity Pub. I would say TJ's Pub. I would say Greensleeves Pub. I would say Rob Roy Confusion. I would say the Martini Bar. And why not check out the Bull and Barrel? And if you're going to go for a bite, I like to go to Merchant Tavern, Blue on Water, or Wedgwood Cafe, but there's lots of great local spots. Check them all out. I certainly like to do it. The days are getting longer. The weather's getting, I was going to say warmer, but let's say slightly less cold. It's a positive time to be alive. If you're in St. John's and you want to work out, why not go to Power Conditioning on Rope Walk Lane? Strength and balance for the body and mind. Ryan Power Conditioning, great guy, great system, great space, great work. Mr. Lube with locations on Torbay Road and Kenmount Road. Live, Laugh, Lube. Check them out. Pitbull Pain Relief, pitbullpainrelief.com for the pitbull or for the pain sticks that just won't quit. I absolutely love them, and will probably use them as long as they're available for the rest of my life. I mean that. The last 2 years, they've been a big part of my sports preparation and cool down. And of course, True Hockey, take what's yours. Folks, thanks to Arron Asham. Thanks to Andrew Shaw last week. Thanks to everybody that watches the show, listens to the show, or consumes it in any way. This has been episode 143B, and I'll catch you all on the rebound next week.